Yeah. I'll react if I had to. Put some things in the past too, and don't let them distract you, but react if you have to. Yeah. I'll react if I had to. Put some things in the past too, and don't let them distract you, but react if you have to. Yeah. React if you have to. Yeah.
Don't know the time, yeah. Just know that I'm, one of a kind, What's on your mind, What hard to find, Beautiful mind, Still in my prime, Just know that I'm here.
What you wearing, Jeff?
I got a pretty flat bill.
Flat bill. You don't look like a hipster. That we don't want to look like that. I hear that all the time. You look like a hipster. You're full of hipster.
I don't know what that means.
I think
I know what it means.
I think I do, but I don't think there's one definition.
Right.
That's a pretty sharp cap.
Yeah.
So we got some pretty cool caps in that have our Pondoff's Anonymous logo on it, and we'll just share that on social media before we release this even episodes, and people will know.
Yep.
But yeah, man, they're cool. I've always wanted a hat, and it's not a fucking Picasso painting. You ever hear that? You don't watch NASCAR, do you?
No.
See that wreck last night?
Dude, I did see the wreck. That's crazy.
Man, I have a lot of NASCAR Hoosier in me still. I might live in the city, urban liberal church, if you want to call it that. But yeah, I've been watching NASCAR for a long time, and that was bad news.
Yeah, it reminded me of the Dale Earnhardt.
It eerily reminded me of that, and praying for he's alive.
Yeah.
For Ryan Newman, because the Rocketman, the pride of Purdue,
looked like he was about to win the thing.
He was gonna, would have been a second.
Yeah.
Ashley had him in our pool.
Oh.
She's a fucking kiss of death, man. Kidding, Ash. No, so these hats are tight. They about a Picasso painting, when you wear like your favorite race car driver's hat. A buddy of mine who's triple the Hoosier I am used to complain about the hats that look like a Picasso painting, quote unquote, that had all the fucking sponsors, every M&M, Skittles, Tampax, whoever the fuck, on these hats, and it got a little messy. So this is the opposite of that.
The simplicity.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
Yeah, so it's got the PA on the cocktail napkin with a pen. Did I ever tell you so that the P and the A is my handwriting?
Right. Yeah, you did tell me that.
Did I tell them that?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, here we go pardon my redundancy if you've heard this already, but the way I write my P, there's kind of a hidden TP in it, which was my old man's initials, and we write the same. We do everything the same, pretty much, to my mother's dismay. I've said that before. So yeah, it's got the cocktail napkin, the P and the A and the pen, and that little ring is kind of like the ring you'd leave when you have a rocks glass on a cocktail napkin.
Right.
So yeah, man, we'll take a picture and we'll put it on the social medias.
Yes.
Excuse me. I was looking up. I guess I'm gonna say this. One of these days I kind of want to incorporate if we have a secondary logo.
Yeah.
I've always been drawn to that explicit content logo on CDs and shit.
It's because everything you ever bought had it on it.
Right. Right. Yeah, 5th grade on, probably. I get that from my cousin, the hardcore rap and stuff. Yeah. But I looked closely at the logo today because I love it, and I think I've shared it before when we first got our explicit, like, we had to get that tag for the podcast stuff. So it says on the logo, parental advisory, PA. So Pondoff's Anonymous Parental Advisory. It's a fucking godwink.
Perfect.
He works
what
in mysterious
describes
ways.
it better, right?
Exactly. How was your Valentine's Day?
It was really chill. Really chill. Where did we go? We went and got pho.
Fucking?
At that place someplace in Belleville. What's it called?
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Vietnamese place over off of, anyway, it doesn't matter.
No, it does matter. The one off Lebanon?
Yeah.
Right by the liquor, that's the liquor store I used to stumble in and
Is
out
it?
of. Yeah, it used to be. It's a Tips. It used to be Tips Thai,
So that's the
right by St. Teresa's Church.
Yeah, no, that's the Thai place.
Okay.
We went down to the Vietnamese place close to where Dairy Queen is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
The Social Security office is back there.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. How was it?
It was good for Belleville.
Yeah, right.
The
We're
better
diverse.
places are in St. Louis.
Well, it's funny. So we went Asian restaurants too,
Yeah.
because our family restaurant it was brutal. The water pipes broke at 5:00 on a Friday night, let alone Valentine's.
Couldn't be worse.
The restaurant community in this city is amazing, though. The way that people have rallied around. For those of you who don't know, my cousin owns Olive and Oak in Webster Groves,
Yeah.
and it just shows you what kind of people that really are in this industry, and the people that my cousin and Jen is his wife, my cousin now by marriage, and kind of people they are for people to do what they did. So needless to say, I had like 3 reservations for other people, and then Ashley and I's that we had to kind of scramble. And I mean, we're cool just staying home, but we already had a sitter drive in from fucking St. Peter, so let's get out of the house and make a night of it. Where are you gonna go? You know what I told her? I go, here's the deal. I go, we got to go somewhere cultural that, I don't know shit about culture, and I stumble all the time especially like as the rules have gotten real tightened up with, culture in today's day and age. But I was like, we got to go somewhere cultural that doesn't maybe celebrate Valentine's Day. We got to go to a tavern like Fridays, which I was more than happy to go to, or we got to go to a fucking hospital cafeteria. If we want to actually eat, and not, because I ain't standing in line for 2.5 hours.
Right.
And we landed on I call it Kate Zone, but some people say it's Kate Zone it's a Chinese, awesome, man.
Yeah.
And it's UC, you call it Chinatown, I guess, because everything's in Mandarin right there by, that's pretty woke, Mandarin,
Mandarin,
call
nice.
it Chinese.
Yeah.
Asian descent restaurants, and so it's the Inner Belt and Olive.
Oh,
And
yeah, for sure.
there's all kinds of.
It's a great place.
And I hear they're I've always wanted to try this place. Coincidentally, my cousin Mark and Jen love it, and I usually take their advice on good food.
Yeah.
So Ashley and I, 30 minutes, sat in, and it was super authentic. Like the menu's pictures, and then Mandarin.
Yeah.
So I
You
picked.
just pointed at your favorite picture.
I picked 5 of them, bro.
Hey,
This guy,
you're celebrating.
this guy looked at me like I was crazy. I go, am I missing anything? Should I get? He's like, you got plenty.
Yeah.
And no soy sauce. This isn't. They don't play that game.
Right.
But the dishes were very authentic, exotic, rich, amazing. So
Yeah.
Kate Zone or Kate Zone off of Olive and the Inner Belt.
Yeah.
And then we went over to Evie's house actually, and the 3 of them drank wine, and I had some LaCroix, and because they live in U City, and we kind of crashed their Valentine's Day. So that's a nice pastor, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So
We did end up at Target at one point. That's how you know you've been married for 10 years.
Yeah, that's true. The old Target.
Yeah.
So anyway, enough of bullshitting, I guess.
Yeah.
We're here today. I wrote back in like 2016, 2017, a 3-part blog series on that, blog thing I've talked about. And it plays off of the phrase, the good, bad, and the ugly, right? So I started with the ugly, and then did the bad, and then did the good, and I used a word which is more than just a word to me, for each. And I want to do this. I want to do a 3-part podcast series. We'll start today with the ugly. But in between, I think we might have a couple guests. So
Great.
So we'll do today first part. We'll do part 2 whenever, and part 3 to kind of wrap up the series, to use a gathering term.
Yep.
And we'll sprinkle a couple guests in, because we're sitting down later this week with a dear friend of mine, who is kind of comes from the other side of the table on the addiction stuff. She's the one that would be, there's Alcoholics Anonymous, AA. There's Narcotics Anonymous, NA. Then there's Al-Anon, which is for families and friends of.
Oh.
And there's Nar-Anon, which is for families and friends of. So she would be in the families and friends of an addict. And her story's fucking powerful, man. So I'm really excited to sit down with her. I think we're going to make sure that we have some Kleenex because I think she's going to go to a real difficult spot. And I'm proud of her for doing it. She's super... I don't know if excited's the right word, but she's eager. We use that.
Yeah.
She's super eager to share her story because the more we share, the more we break that stigma down, man.
Yeah.
And the more people realize they're not fucking alone in this shit. So I'm excited for that. So without further ado, I want to talk a little bit about part one, and it's called The Ugly Liability. And the reason I call it that, Jeff, is because at my worst, I was nothing short of a fucking liability. You ever been to a party or out drinking with friends and there's that one guy or that one gal?
Yes.
You're just waiting for the fucking shoe to drop, the bottom to fall out. Something's gonna fucking happen.
100%. I know those people.
And I was that guy and I hadn't always been that guy, man. For the longest time, knowing how to handle my liquor, I was the fun guy, the guy that people wanted at parties, the guy that people wanted to sit next to at the tavern, the guy that people would actually, believe it or fucking not, seek out for some advice on like the real life shit.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck they were thinking, but they did. I was, and then at some point, and I use it as probably the peak of my life really fucking falling out of control. As I said, it was when my old man died. I became the guy that, oh shit, that guy. Mm-hmm. Something's gonna happen. Something's gonna get fucking destroyed. There's gonna be a fight. You ever been in any fist fights? For real?
No, not in my adult life.
So I used to, grew up on the ice playing ice hockey. Right. And with my mouth, I've been in plenty on the ice and unfortunately off the ice. It's totally, in my opinion, and we can digress into sports some other day, but fighting and ice hockey, peanut butter and jelly, right? Mm-hmm. They go together and they belong together, and it's okay on the ice. I've gotten in fights with guys on the ice and immediately drank with them an hour later after we got showered up, and we were both fucking black eyes and
part of the game,
fat lips, and buying each other cocktails. So but off the ice is where it gets bad, man. Bar fights. I mean, I've seen people get seriously fucking hurt. I could have been. Luckily, I dodged some bullets. I had my ass whooped. I'm no badass by any means, but I've been in my fair share of scraps. And today I want to talk about me being the liability, and not to glamorize some of the bullshit I got myself into, but there's a couple stories I do want to share, like, and each one is, they could have gone the other way, and paint the picture on why I became the fucking liability for everyone, just a big fucking liability.
Now, is it okay to laugh at some of these or no?
Please.
Okay, just making sure like it's not weird
That's
to
funny
laugh
you say that. No, you got it. Comedy's my love language.
I don't want to laugh at your misfortune.
No, that you go for it. I'm not going to punch you. It's funny you say that because I was thinking like, Jeff, I'm so grateful for you being here. I could not do this alone. I need, well, my family will attest to this. I need somebody to laugh at my fucking jokes. And I don't know if anybody's doing that, right? Because I'm not like talking in front of them. I'm talking into this microphone that looks like a cock right in front of my face.
Well, I can be your Ed McMahon, you know?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, just
I'll
somebody
just sit
to
and laugh at you.
I'll hold up a cue card or whatever I got to
Yes.
do. Insert applause here, but man, some of these fucking nights that I had were as Nick put it when he was on with us, unfucking manageable. Like
Right.
you know, I didn't have quite. I mean, you know, some of everybody's story is important. I don't know if I can top his hiding in the braid shop story, but one night I was at a tavern in Belleville called Centerfield Tavern. You don't know where it's at, I guarantee you. It's literally tucked in a neighborhood, and it's a God bless this tavern, the people there. It's a dive bar, neighborhood tavern. It has karaoke on Friday nights. Fun place, but you can really let it out at this joint. I had been drinking, obviously, all day and night. I'm sure this was a Sunday through Thursday, like a Monday or Tuesday night, right, when everybody else is home relaxing with their families and doing productive things. I wanted to go up to it was right down the street from where I lived, and I couldn't wait to go to the I just wanted to go to the bar. I'd been, fucked up, and I needed a shot of Rumplez, and probably didn't have any in my freezer. So I talked my buddy in who was over and sober from alcohol at the time, and whether he was sober or not, it didn't matter. I was like, let's go to the tavern with my roommate and this guy, and because he was sober, I had sense enough to let him drive my Jeep. So we went up there, and there's two people in the tavern and the barmaid, and then me and my two friends. And one of the guys sitting at the bar, this fucker I have had problems with. I have had problems with for years. Every tavern I went to, I don't know, he rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know what the fuck he did, but I didn't like him. And that's not Christian. But I found that out later. But I didn't like this fucking guy. So I guess I was feeling good about myself, and I was trying to bury the hatchet. So I bought his ass a drink.
Nice, yeah.
Now that is Christian to me, right?
That is, absolutely.
Doing the right thing. Well, I don't know what happened between me buying him the drink and how the 5 or 10 minutes after I bought him a drink, but I started fucking boiling. He never thanked me for this drink. Pissed me off. Would it piss you off?
Sure,
Pissed me off.
yeah.
So I fucking attacked him. Fucking motherfucking him up and down the bar.
Verbally
swinging.
okay.
Started swinging at him. The bartender got all pissed off. I mean, this is like a Monday, Tuesday night at 12:31 in the morning, and she's like last calling it in like 10 minutes, trying to get home. And here I start this shit show. Come to find out, like, the bartender starts screaming at me, telling my buddies to get him the fuck out of the car, out of the bar. Come to find out, she had never given him the drink yet.
Oh, man.
Whoopsie.
Wow, dude.
Well, fucking pour him the drink.
Yeah.
I mean, goddamn. Oh, I mean, shoot.
Right.
That's the one I try not to say, but oops. Sorry,
It's
man.
not Christian.
That's not Christian. So then my buddies are dragging me out of the bar, and they get me in the car, and I'm so pissed. Like, I still want a piece of this fucking guy. And they start driving off down B Street and into like on Kansas, back where I live over there off of 161 in Belleville. And I'm like, I'm fucking going back. Let me out of this car, fucking going back. And my buddy driving's like, shut up, you're not going back. But I actually was texting him about this today because I read the post I wrote, and I was like, shit, yeah, I remember that. And I was like, how fast do you think you were going? He goes, dude, I started slowing down as I knew you were going to do. I go, how fast? He said, probably 10, 15 miles an hour. I flew the door open, fucking hit the ground running. My fat ass tumbled, fucking rolled, did a roll. I mean, I was all cut up. My fucking kneecap was fucked up. My ankle to this day is, it like will just give out on me.
Oh my gosh.
It was a brilliant fucking decision, wasn't it? I wanted a piece of this guy. He stops the car. He's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, fucking bleeding on my arms and shit. And he's like, "You're fucking stupid." Probably said some other choice words, and he bolted. And that's the type of shit that I would do. Like, so gone. I mean, whiskey, Rumplemans. You ever had Rumplemans?
No, No, I haven't.
100 proof schnapp. I used to brush my teeth in the morning with Rumplemans. It's mint, peppermint schnapps. It's but 100 proof, and it'll make you do things you never thought you could do. It'll make you think you're the toughest guy in the world when you're not.
10 feet tall and bulletproof.
One time in college, all fucked up on Rumplemans. Although I feel to this day that, what's the saying? You won the battle, but I won the war. They won the battle, but I won the fucking war. So when I went to school, our football team at Illinois was awful. And not that we're not awful often, but we were particularly awful when I was at school there. And we were standing outside a line to get in this bar called fucking CO's and Champagne. And why the fuck I was going to CO's? It wasn't my type. These college bars on campus weren't my places. Like, I would hang out at the tavern with the townies and end up dating one. And let's go back to CO's. Yeah. CO's was this, like, it was a fucking frat bar. And
I've been to CO's.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a shithole, and it was a college bar that it was 10 deep to get a fucking Jaeger bomb, and I'm a guy that likes to sit at a bar, drink whiskey on the rocks with some club soda, maybe a couple shots of Rumplemans, and a fucking ashtray, because back then you could smoke at the tavern. So we're standing in line, and some guy like walks past us, and they start to let him and his buddies in. This guy wasn't a big guy. The guy I was with, I didn't give a fuck. It's CO's. He thinks he's a big shot at CO's, and he can have it. But my fucking roommate was, wasted, and he started running his mouth. So this guy grabs him by the throat. So I stick him, and little did I know this fucker was like the kicker for the football team, and his buddies were the linemen for the football team. So I just remember two of these guys grabbing me, throwing me off of a parked car in front of CO's, and I was skinnier than I am now in college, which is a good thing. Otherwise, my fat ass would have gone right through this fucking windshield, man, and just been broken in pieces. But I rolled off the windshield, off the hood, onto the ground, smacked my face on the ground. They started kicking me until people pushed these fuckers up, and I still didn't know what was going on.
Right.
And I stood up, and one eye wasn't really working. The other eye I could see out of, and I looked down, and I can tell they're the football players, and they were about 10 yards, to use a football term, now separated from me. And I said, "No wonder why you fucking bitches are 1-11. You hit like girls."
That was probably not the greatest thing to say.
So they start firing off. But at this time, everybody's outside breaking this up. And this is my fucking psychotic temper. I was so pissed off. Like, CO's and Cam's were right across the street from this sorority. These sorority girls came, either were at the bar or at their house. They came out and they started "Honey, are you okay? You're okay?" Cleaning my face off and asking me to come back to their sorority house and clean me up. Okay? I'm so pissed off. This is people fantasize about this shit, right? I'm like, "No, thank you, ladies. I'm going back to my house to get my car and a baseball bat, and I'm coming after these fucking guys." So I missed out on what could have potentially been the night of my life to attack some fucking loser-ass offensive lineman for the University of Illinois 0-12, 1-11 football team. So,
how many bad decisions are in this entire story? Let's see.
Yeah.
You can start counting them off.
And that was before I was really the big liability, right? That was leading up to it. I used to drive around in my car because of my fucking temper, and I had my my best friend I talked about who died in that go-kart accident, I had his baseball bat in my car, and I had a rosary. I wasn't a practicing Catholic, but I had a rosary around my middle rearview mirror. And Kyla, this is for you, one of my best friends, and then she married one of my other best friends. She used to just laugh her ass off and like sometimes intentionally try to get me to go fucking off psycho because I would just start rubbing this rosary. So now she still texts me like if I'm mad about something that are you rubbing the rose? Are you rubbing the rose? So it's kind of a funny joke amongst our friends. But so even then I had a little bit of psycho and a little bit of Jesus.
Yeah.
And then you add all the whiskey and the Rumplezmans to it, and it's a fucking nightmare waiting to happen. So, the reason I'm sharing these stories is, yeah, they can be funny at times, but I definitely dodged some bullets. And then nowadays, we can call it the age of the fucking quick trigger. You never know if I was acting like that today. I mean, remember that fucking story? A guy got popped at killed at a show-me's fighting over a dog breed.
Oh my, no, I didn't know about that.
I think it was last year.
Oh my gosh.
You know, these guys are fucking parents. Like, so if I was acting like this at taverns now, man, you never know. I mean, everybody's fucking armed, it seems like. But
yeah, I saw a guy almost get into a fist fight with another dad who his kid played Little League against each other. It was at a bar. The kids played Little League against each other, and these two dudes were so drunk they were about to fight over Little League.
Over a Little League game, yeah. That shit happens, man. Sadly, quite fucking often, too. So I could go on and on about these stories. Now, I'd like to do this podcast thing for the long haul, so I won't burn them all with
right.
one long podcast. But the point is, man, like, when I was completely, absolutely, totally fucking hammered, and then the next morning, after waking up from being the most belligerent, psychotic, drunk fucking rampage of a person, I can't put into words how awful I would feel in the mornings, going on these apology tours, going on these I'm so sorry's, and feeling the guilt and shame, and to minimize that, I would just immediately start drinking again, and then I could start dealing with it better. It wasn't my like long-term health, or my liver enzymes when I got sober, they took my blood, were so high when they came back. Thank God, they 6 months after being sober, they checked in back at normal levels.
Wow.
My doctor said it was a medical fucking miracle.
Wow.
So, I'm lucky, man. I mean, and the worst part of all of it was that gut-wrenching feeling of anxiety, remorse, like lingering anger from the night before, and the shame of acting like an idiot and being the liability amongst your friends. I mean, it happens when you drink 2 bottles of fucking whiskey by supper time, and then, instead of supper, you you don't eat, you do scoops of fucking blow and key bumps and shoot Rumplezmans. Brilliant fucking idea, right? Drunk fucking asshole. I was apologizing all the time, bro, like a broken record, man. Text calls, I used to send flowers,
Yeah.
Some of you listening have gotten the flowers. They lost their fucking luster after a little bit. The phone calls would stop getting returned, and the voicemails of "I'm sorry." The sympathy was gone, bro.
Yeah.
And people were tired of it's the same old story over and over again. They have seen that fucking movie, and I was that person. I was a fucking liability, plain and simple. I was the guy, like we said earlier, that you walk into the tavern and he's sitting at the bar and you're like, oh, fuck. And you would even go somewhere else because you don't want to be around this fucking guy. A human wrecking ball is what I call it, Jeff. And then, like, even at home, man, you can ask my last roommate, we call him Vern, he drinks it too. He don't mind me saying that. He knows. But One time I thought he was being disloyal, so I took Johnny's baseball bat and shattered his television into 1,000 fucking pieces. One time I walked home from Fridays, which was a couple miles, and forgot my keys, and our front, not a screen door, but glass door was locked. The main door was still open, but the front and the roommate was home. So instead of asking him, I just took a rock and threw it through the glass window. So I started just fucking destroying my home, man. It was awful. It was awful. And I am if I sound mad, man, it's because I still am embarrassed by that. I've come to terms with it. It's part of one of the steps in AA. And people know that I'm sincerely sorry. Like my own mom was scared of me because I would go off the fucking handle. My sisters were, the sister well, like she said that she would stop taking my calls at 9 p.m. and then it went down to 8 p.m., then 7 p.m. And by the time we got to the end of it, she wouldn't answer a call after lunch.
Wow. Wow.
Because I was going to be fucking liquored up and pissed off about something. And instead of like being the guy that could help people, now I was the fucking prayer. Like people were praying for me. And all that shit. So I always say like it wasn't one thing that got me to rehab, but all that stuff started weighing on me. And I'm so grateful to God that I had that ability for that to weigh on me and eat away at me enough enough was enough. I one time, and I guess I kind of just on the phone. I'll tell another story next on the bad episode. But I used to just sometimes it would be funny phone calls and drunk phone calls. But I could go on a rampage, man, and leave voicemails and talk shit and use every fucking word you're not supposed to use anymore. Like. Just, like I thought I was Tupac, gangster rapping, talking shit on people's phones. Like, it was just fucking ignorant, and it's disgusting, and God, I'm so glad I could recognize it now and was able to let that kind of drive me to rehab. And
do you think anyone still has those voicemails?
Potentially, and cancel culture could, but I mean, I was a different person back then.
Right, yeah.
I mean, this is why I'm sober and why I'm, like, following Jesus to be redeemed of some bad shit I did back in the past. And that's why I hate when I see people getting fucking called out for shit they did 10 years ago. And, like, some shit you just uncover that somebody's, but a lot of it, man, it's like cancel, ask questions later. Or,
right.
Get them fired, ask questions later. And, like, obviously, if everybody listened a little bit more, I think the country would be a lot better fucking place.
Yeah.
But who knows what people are going through and what their story is and why they're angry, and it's why they're doing things that can be hurtful to others, Yeah. But not to go off on that tangent, but that's part of making amends and changing your life. Like, I've written about chances before and second chances, and the thing about God is, I say with God, you unlimited second fucking chances. I mean, heaven is a fucking second chance, right?
Yeah.
And that's a fucking powerful, actually, hopeful message in its own self, which we can talk about one day. But I just I was struggling, man, and it was no good. And when your friends start kind of falling by the wayside and they still love you, but at a distance, you start to recognize it. And that's, we'll get into the enabling thing one day, but once people get sick and tired of your shit and the behavior repeats itself on a nightly, weekly basis, they got no option but to pull away and pray from a distance. I mean, I find myself having to do it for folks, or you try until they're ready to help themselves, and that's kind of what they were waiting for me to do.
Yeah.
Was just, when is he going to be fucking ready to help themselves or to help himself,
Yeah.
So when there's some stories too, and it'll, just so you know, the bad. So I titled it The Ugly, The Liability. The Ugly, Liability, and then I wrote the next podcast will be The Bad, and it'll be Reliability. And I'll get on to how I started realizing to myself, it all came crystal clear when I sobered up, but these are parts that led me to rehab. Like, I became unreliable to any human being that needed anything. So that'll be the next one. I just and then I don't want to reveal the third one because it kind of brings it all home.
Right.
But yeah, it's just, I could go on and on about stories on how bad it was, and how crazy I could behave. And I'm sure people that are listening will be like, "Oh, you forgot to tell this story. You should tell this story." So email me and remind me, and I'll be sure to talk about them at some point in the future, and we can all have a laugh. And then on my knees, gratitude prayer to God that I'm still here and that I was able to clean my shit up and now try to make a difference. Yeah. So that's the whole purpose of this, brother. We've had a lot of people reaching out. So it's people are listening, and we're so grateful for that. And if you're listening and you've thought about reaching out but haven't yet, I don't know if I've drove this point home, but what you send me is going to be anonymous. It's the fucking name, right?
Right.
Or do you guys what?
No, I was just going to say, if you send an email to Chris, he's not sharing it with me either. Like, it's really anonymous.
Yeah, and
or private.
Yeah, and it's a real you can. It's funny too because people used to call my old man. His name was Tom. I might have said this: telephone, Tommy, because he would like fucking blow a family secret. You couldn't tell him shit, right?
Yeah.
They say I inherited that, right? But
that's my dad too.
Yeah,
you can't keep a secret.
Yeah, if somebody's like pregnant in the family and it's a big secret, I'm usually the last one to find out, shit like that. But yeah. I've been getting better. It's usually when I was drunk, I'd be like, "Hey, did you hear that?" Speaking of Kyla, ask her. She should share the story about when they were first expecting and how I ruined that surprise at Fletcher's in Belleville. But when it comes to this shit, I mean, this is life and death, and I don't know if pride myself's the right saying, but I take it very seriously, the anonymity of people that are reaching out for help, because I'm not a doctor or a professional, but there's that HIPAA shit for a reason.
Yeah,
people need to feel safe and secure, and I hope I am relaying that. I know trust is earned, but if you have a nudge and you want to reach out, or if you know a friend, right? Everybody's got the friend and the cousin, the brother, the mom, the parent, the child, whatever. I will. I'll keep it between you and I, and I'm talking to the audience, not you, Jeff.
Sure.
I share with Jeff, that we are helping people, but I don't share with them the details when people send me stuff. Now, listen, you can. If you don't know me and you know Jeff, or you want to reach out to Jeff. He's got a Ponoff's Anonymous email address as well, and he can keep that shit to himself. And unless you green light it, and that's kind of how we are. So, and how we operate. If you feel that you have a powerful story, we'd love to hear it. And if you're comfortable enough, we'd love to have you on the podcast. This is a community. This podcast, we've had one guest on. We got two guests lined up to share their stories. One from my side of the table, and like I said earlier, one from the other side. My cousin Mark always keeps saying that I should have my mom on, and that's that over my dead body.
Yeah.
She's got a perspective, all right, but you guys can get that from her on privately.
We're real here, but I don't know if you want to get that real.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, the whole fucking episode would be her in my mouth. It would be her telling me to watch my mouth, and nobody wants to hear that. And she's probably got some memories that I don't want to relive. But right. I want to close with this. I got a text last night from my friend's mother. This friend I've known forever, and he's I'm gonna use his quote one time when I picked him up in the pouring rain, when I ran into him on the side of the street without a pot to piss in. Pardon my French. I'm Italian. He told me, he goes, Chris. When I looked at him, I said, "What the fuck is going on, man?" He said, "Heroin is a motherfucker." And I dropped him off at the Townhouse Motel where he was staying on like a nightly rate, just released from county, been in and out. And I got a text last night from his mother that he is 3 months clean, and he's committing to a 1 year stay at this rehab. He's already been there for 3 months.
That's amazing.
So there's hope, there's power, man. I actually helped get him to this rehab. It takes a village. There was a lot of us getting him to accept and go, and he went. And I got that. I had been afraid to reach out and ask her because I was really nervous. I love this kid, man, like a brother. I always have had a real soft spot for him, and I think he's one of the worst cases when the addictions fucking grip on somebody. And I've told him before, I'm like, you're still alive for a reason. There's a lot of people that have gone before him that probably weren't at the level that he was. And I share that story because there's so much hope, and it's never over until it's over. And this is the most promise that I've had for this young man. He's my age, but ever. And it gives me fucking goosebumps. I'm goose the fuck bumped out right now, man. When I got that message last night that he was 3 months in, stayed the program, and is committing to stay for the whole year. Wow, that's how committed he is to his sobriety. And I wanted to share that so people that are listening know, no matter how bad you think it is, bro, or girl, or whatever the fuck, there's always hope. It's not over till it's over. Reach out to us for help. Jeff and I have resources with the help of some great partners, and we're starting to get those I's dotted and T's crossed. So don't hesitate before it's too late. Let us pray.
Pondoff's Anonymous is Chris Pondoff and produced by me, Jeff Allen. Our music is Anti-Hero by McCall and Gentle Waters by Wild Wonder. For more information, visit pondoffsanonymous.com. Find us on Facebook and Instagram.